There's this really interesting, kind of weird thing happening right now in software development. AI is making engineers insanely productive, right? But it might be coming with a hidden price tag, especially for the folks just starting out. Today, we're going to dig into what some are calling the AI trap. I mean, this quote really just nails it, doesn't it? It's the whole idea behind what we're talking about today. We're all celebrating how fast we can move. But the big question is, are we accidentally giving up something way more valuable just to get that speed? And look, this isn't some academic theory. This is really happening. Managers all over the place are seeing it. Junior devs are shipping code like you wouldn't believe, record speed. But then you ask them, hey, can you explain why this works? And you get crickets. That space, that little gap between just doing it and actually understanding it, that's the trap we're talking about. All right, so let's dive into our first section. We're going to look at how the whole game is changing. Really, the shift from deep thinking to just prompting. Just look at this. It's like night and day. On one hand, you've got the old way, right? The slow, sometimes painful grind of thinking, debugging, banging your head against the wall. But that struggle, that's where the magic happened. That's how you built real intuition. And on the other hand, bam, a few keystrokes and a whole function just appears. It feels like progress, for sure, but is it really the same thing? Are you actually learning? And this right here is the absolute key. The convenience is the dangerous part. It's so smooth, so easy that it hides this massive gap. You can literally write code that works without ever having to understand the big picture, the system it's supposed to live in. And folks, that's a trade-off that could really come back to bite us. Okay, so how does this actually happen? Where does this dependency start? Well, it's not just about one person's bad habits. It goes deeper. We're talking about how AI is messing with the classic way engineers have always learned their craft, the apprenticeship. Think about the traditional learning loop, right? You hit a bug, you're stuck. You spend hours wrestling with it. Finally, you swallow your pride, you go ask a senior engineer for help. And in that conversation, you don't just get the answer, you get context. You get the why. You start building this map of the system in your head. That struggle, that's the whole point. It's what builds real expertise. But AI just short-circuits that entire process. Poof! It hands you the answer, and it looks perfect before you've even had a chance to really sit with the problem. The learning loop gets broken before it can even start. And this brings us to a really core idea. In learning, friction is the teacher. That feeling of being stuck, of having to read dense docs or chase down a weird bug, that's not a flaw in the system. That is the system. It's how you build judgment. It's how patterns get burned into your brain. Take away that healthy struggle, and you might just take away the learning, too. So what happens when this learning loop gets skipped over and over again? Well, that brings us to the real-world consequences. We start to see a new kind of dependency forming, and the results, well, they're not great. And this is where you see this huge split. For a senior engineer who already knows their stuff, AI is like a superpower. It's an accelerator. It just lets them do what they already know how to do, but faster. But for a junior dev, someone who hasn't built that foundation yet, AI can become a crutch, a replacement for actual thinking. It basically just amplifies whatever's already there. If you've got expertise, it amplifies that. If you've got ignorance, well, it amplifies that too. And this fundamentally changes your instincts as an engineer. When things go wrong, a great engineer's first thought is, okay, why did this break? They dig for the root cause. The danger here is that we're conditioning a new generation to ask a totally different question. What prompts should I try next? You're not debugging anymore, you're just rolling the dice with a black box. Yeah, the source material really doesn't pull any punches here. It says we're training operators, not engineers. Think about that. We're creating people who are great at using the machine, but they have no idea how the machine actually works. They can drive the car just fine, but when it breaks down on the side of the road, they don't even know how to open the hood. All right, so is it all bad news? Is AI ruining everything? No, of course not. It's not all doom and gloom. So let's shift gears and talk about solutions. How do we use these amazing tools the right way? And this is probably the most important point to get. AI isn't the villain here. Banning it isn't the answer. I mean, these tools are game changers. The real problem is just using them mindlessly, on autopilot, without stopping to think. So what can we actually do? Well, teams need to build some guardrails. For starters, make human code reviews mandatory for any AI-generated code. And maybe we should stop rewarding just speed and start rewarding understanding. Like, can you actually explain your design doc? In code reviews, let's ask more why questions. Why did you choose this approach? And honestly, just treat AI-generated code like it came from a brand new junior engineer, with a healthy dose of skepticism. Read it, understand it. When you boil it all down, it's about this. The goal is to use AI to expand our judgment, not to replace it. It should be a partner in thinking, not a substitute for it. Okay, let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about one engineer's career path. This has huge, and I mean huge, implications for the future of, well, everything. This timeline kind of spells out a scary, but totally possible future. Right now, we've got a generation learning to rely on AI for the hard stuff. In 5 years, there are operating systems they don't fully get. 10 years, maybe innovation starts to slow down because that deep, foundational knowledge just isn't there anymore. And the final step? You've got these incredible, complex systems that run perfectly, until one day they don't, and nobody remembers how to fix them. So yeah, the stakes couldn't be higher. This is about more than just code. It's about preserving our future ability to build and maintain the very technology our world runs on. Which brings us right back to the question that everyone, from team leads to junior devs, needs to be asking themselves. Are we actually building better developers, or are we just building faster ones? And is that a trade we're really willing to make? And let's be real, the temptation is huge. These tools are extraordinary. The feeling of instant productivity it's addictive. Saying no to the easy answer takes real discipline. So let's leave you with this idea. AI can write code. It can do it perfectly all day long. But it can't understand consequences. It doesn't know the business context. It has no idea about the downstream effects of a decision. That part, that's still on us. That's the human part of the job. And that's the ultimate call to action. We have this incredible new capability. The challenge is to use it to augment our uniquely human ability to reason and understand, not trade it away for speed alone.